What up, YouTube, man? It's your boy Houdini Magic coming to y'all again today with another preview and prediction video, man. And in this one, man, we got the Syracuse Orange, man. Right now, they're considered the #1 team in the ACC conference, man. This team has absolutely came out flying, smoking by all colors. Kyle McCord, man, he came into the year smoking. Old Ohio State quarterback that went to Syracuse, man. He got mad. Everybody in Ohio State land kicked him out as a starting quarterback, which, I ain't really mad at myself because Kyle McCord, he did not help our offense last year. He did not do good last year for our offense. He should have played better. Um, but this week they play Stanford, man. Stanford always historically was a good team. They're not like a team that's just elite, but it's like a team you really can't roll over. Past the years, they really haven't had the running back talent they used to have back in the day. Stanford always has some great running backs, but I don't see that this year, man. You got Kyle McCord, man, very experienced quarterback. Went through a year of the Big 10, only lost to the national champ. Other teams he handled, but them games was very scary. And with the talent we had at Ohio State, he really couldn't unlock the players on our offense, unlock them to the best of their ability as the quarterback. But at Syracuse, it seemed like he's around players that probably fit him better in the offensive scheme that fits him. He's not really in Ohio State where you got a lot of talent and you need to be able to get the talent, the ball. You got to be able to be a dual threat guy and put your athletes in space so y'all can just dominate the game. He wasn't that type of quarterback. But in this game, they play Stanford, man. Stanford's quarterback, Ashton Daniels, man, so far this year has absolutely been balling. 36 of 58, 384, three touchdowns, one pick. He's not playing like elite. He's 117th in QBR. But, like I said, he's been balling for his Stanford team. You know what I mean? He's not balling like crazy, like best in the country, top 10 quarterback. But for Stanford, he's been balling. Kyle McCord, man. Kyle McCord has been playing great this year. Eighth in QBR. Um, playing real good. 49 to 85. His volume is way up there. They throwing that thing in the air with McCord using that arm. 735 yards passing, 8 touchdowns, one pick. You know Kyle McCord gonna throw a pick or two. That's just what he do, man. We got Ashton Daniels Jr. He actually is the running back and the quarterback. So man, he's actually balling out, leading them and rushing in, um, passing. Probably not a great passer, but a great athlete, a great runner. And then we got LaQuint Allen. LaQuint Allen's been balling, 30 carries, 181 yards. He ain't got no touchdowns yet, so that's very concerning. You need your top running back to at least have a couple TDs, a couple tutties. You know what I mean? Receiving, we got Alec Ayamer. So far this year, 10 catches, 147 yards, no touchdowns. And then we got Syracuse wide receiver Oronde Gaddison, a tight end. Um, 13 catches, 201 yards, three touchdowns. Of course, it's gonna be Kyle McCord's best asset because he loves knowing Kyle McCord. He loves getting to that check down. He loves checking that ball down. You know what I mean? This game is in Stanford though. Oh no, this game is in Syracuse. I'm sorry. So yeah, Kyle McCord gonna be comfortable at home. We about to dig into some statistics for this game, man. And I'm gonna give y'all my prediction on it and who I think will win. We're gonna start with Syracuse, man. We're gonna go to their last win. The win everybody was hyping up, saying Syracuse is back. Syracuse is definitely good. Syracuse is this. Syracuse is that. You know what I mean? A Kyle McCord for Heisman. So we about to check out the game and see what was going down. Georgia Tech was 7 of 14 on third down. Kyle McCord. And Syracuse was 10 of 17. So over 50%. And they were 2 and 2 on fourth down. They absolutely balled out on third and fourth down. They did their thing. Had over 500 yards of offense, 381 of those yards through the air, 46 attempts through the air. So this is a pass heavy offense at 8.3 yards per pass, which is, it's pretty good, man. It ain't like elite. I consider elite at least 9 to 10 yards per pass. If you had 10 yards per pass, I'm gonna be like you elite. But 8.3, that's pretty decent, especially at the attempts. So it's giving you more chances at 8 yards. So like I said, man, Kyle McCord at an 8.3 yards per pass. It's pretty decent. They had 134 yards uh rushing, 30 on 32 attempts at a 4.2. Now that's pretty poor. That run game was definitely getting stuffed up. And that's what makes me worry about Kyle McCord. If Kyle McCord gonna come out, throw the ball 46 times, and I'm an elite team, I'm licking my chops. That's what I want. I want Kyle McCord to throw that thing about 46 times, 32 or 46. You know what I mean? But if he getting 8.3, now that's different because he's getting 8 yards every time he throw that thing. So on the 32, hitting at a 32 clip, man. But that volume is insanely high. They are spamming Kyle McCord's arm. Syracuse had five penalties. Boom. And the crazy thing about this game is they almost choked it up in the fourth quarter. Um, Syracuse was up 21-14 at halftime, and then they was up um 24-14 in the third, and then they scored in the third, but Georgia Tech scored 14 points in the fourth quarter, so they almost choked that game up to Georgia Tech. And Kyle McCord was talking all that stuff. He was making it seem like he just a god out there. I mean, he got some new swagger playing with a new coach. About to check out these box scores though. We about to see what the story was, man. Haynes King, man. Haynes King, 29-39, 260, 266 at a 6.8 average. Average day, one touchdown, 92.7. So he had a good quarterbacking game. Haynes King was balling out on a rush, 6 carries, 67 at 11.2. Syracuse held Jamal Haynes, their running back, to only 35 yards rushing. They did their job, 3.2. Anthony Crane, Eagles, they ain't ball out. Eric Singleton Jr., wide receiver. He was out there making plays on that Syracuse D. Avery Lloyd, 4 catches, 56, 7 catches. So as a room, they was at a 9.2. As a room. Um, Kyle McCord. What's crazy is based on QBR is saying Haynes King played better than Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord had literally like 9 more attempts, had more yards, 8.3 average. That 8.3 average is very, very key because Georgia Tech ran the ball better than Syracuse that game. They ran the ball way better than Syracuse. Well, point 0.7. So that's pretty even rushing. But in the receiving department, um, Syracuse receivers were literally 2 points better than Georgia Tech's receivers. And they was at a way almost 12 yards every time they caught the ball in their receiver room. A lot of explosive plays out of that receiving room. At a 9.2 for Georgia Tech. And then with the fumbles, no fumbles. And like I said, man, Syracuse, they came out, they handled business, they won that game. They won that game through the air. Kyle McCord was able to win a game with his arm. He beat Georgia Tech with his arm. So he handled business there. Then versus Ohio, 9-15 on third down. So this whole year, Syracuse has been great on third down. And Kyle McCord, man, 8.9. He been playing really, really well, man. Every time Kyle McCord is throwing that ball, he's getting 8-9 yards every completion. But his volume is sky high. So he's still missing throws, but they just upped his volume. They trying to get that boy's stats. 8.9 rushing. They still was bad on the rushing game. So Syracuse is not a good running team. They do not have a good running backfield, but they do have a quarterback that can throw the ball like Kyle McCord and actually is making plays. You know what I mean? Um, Picking Navarro in this game of 14.1. Syracuse defense is absolutely doing a great job on these quarterbacks they didn't play so far. Well, Haynes King kind of had a day. Anthony Tyus, he had 203 rushing yards with Syracuse. So that's clearly a weakness in their defense is their rush being able to stop the run. So they got to clean that up. And man, this Syracuse receiving room has been performing well. 13.1 yards every time they got a catch in this whole receiving room, and they got 4 touchdowns out of that room. That's absolutely great, bro. That's great. I ain't gonna lie to you. They getting a lot of production out of that receiving room right now with Kyle McCord in the helm. But yeah, man. Kyle McCord, 27 to 39, a lot of value, 354 yards, at a 9.1 every time he completed a pass. Very, very elite. 86.6. This was an elite performance from Kyle McCord. So Kyle McCord has been playing elite so far. We must give him that respect. We must give it to him, bro. He has been playing great so far this year, throwing the ball in the air. Now, you ain't really going to see a lot of rushing yards, but man, he's been playing well. Now with Stanford, man, Stanford, they beat Cal Paul Mustangs 41-7. They absolutely dominated this team. Stanford was terrible on third down. Terrible on third down. Absolutely terrible on third down. They were 2 or 3 on fourth down. Total yards, they were over 400 yards of total offense. They threw it 318 yards, 26 to 30 out of 10.6. So they had a great day passing the ball in this game, their last game. So, man, maybe they could take that energy versus Syracuse and really make it a game, because if they averaging this versus Syracuse, they could stay with them, because Kyle McCord been throwing this all year. Through his first 2 games, he been over 10.6 average. Um, Rushing, 119 yards rushing, 3.7, not great. They around the same as Syracuse. 4 penalties, 30 yards, 1 turnover, 1 pick. They controlled the time of possession. Played great. Quarterback, 19 to 23. He actually played great in this particular game. 221 yards at a 9.6 average. He played really good this game. Chris Davis Jr., he popped out, freshman. Um, 6 carries, 53 yards at an 8.8. The rushing department is not great as a room collectively. A 3.7 average yards every time they touch the ball. 114 total yards, 1 touchdown. Just that's just not great. But in the receiving room, the receivers actually had a great day versus Kyle Powell. They a 12.2 average yards per catch. They got 3 touchdowns out of their room. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good, man. As a defense, 57 tackles total, 27 solo tackles total. They had 8 TFLs and 1 pass deflection. So that defense was out there, man. They was getting a lot of tackle for loss. Now sacks, they only got 1 sack though. They was not getting a lot of sacks. So, like I said, man, that was a good performance versus Kali Mustang. Only had 1 sack though. So I don't think this team is really that good. Now versus TCU, Stanford was 5 of 15 on third down, which is not great. 2 of 5 on fourth down. That is not great. Under 300 yards of total offense is not great. 165 passing yards. 18 to 36, a 4.6. That's absolutely terrible. They could not throw the ball on TCU. TCU was not going for none of that. Rushing attempts, 37. They just can't run the ball. So Stanford or Syracuse cannot run the ball, bro. These are 2 teams that can't run the ball. It's literally going to come down to who is going to get the most production out of their receiving rooms. Is it going to be Ashton Daniels, or is it going to be Kyle McCord? In this particular game, they threw the ball pretty well. I'm not going to say elite because it's under 10. They were at a 9.2 average every time they caught a ball. Yards per play, yards per pass. So that's pretty good. They got 2 touchdowns out of this room. 165. So it's a really good wide receiver room, to where they're gonna get production. They're not just a dead zero production wise. Down for the defense, 68 total tackles, 40 solos, They out there making it happen. 4 touchdowns, 1 sack. They're not a team that's just gonna get sacked. Their first couple games of the year, they only got 1 sack. So, like I said, right now it's looking to me that I'm gonna pick Syracuse to win this game. I think Syracuse is gonna win this game based solely. I just believe Syracuse just has a better wide receiver room and a better quarterback than Stanford. I think Ashton Daniels, if he could come in and he could do damage on his do in a run game with his legs, with still being able to be efficient throwing the ball, because these last couple games, he has not been like really efficient at throwing the ball. So, like I said, man, it's gonna be like I think Kyle McCord is gonna get the betterment of the matchup just because of that. So I got Syracuse winning this one, man. I think Syracuse is going to pretty much handle this team in about 4 days, man. We're gonna look back, we're gonna be like, dang, man. We're gonna be like, dang. But yeah, man, Kyle McCord, man, balling out this year. I must give him his respect, man. Must give him his respect. It's your boy Houdini Magic, Slimy Hot Boy. Make sure you like us, subscribe up to the channel, hit that notification bell, and I'm out. Peace.